I love how Martin's got his set up now so that we can see his guitars.
Absolutely, man. Background. I'm doing a Rick Beato thing here. I'm like...
I just thought the idea of like they're all plastic and we just...
They're all cardboard cuts.
Yeah.
I'm just disappointed you haven't got your pedal board set up with your actual mic so you can just add like delay to your podcast voice.
I think I'm more blown away that mine's got headphones on. Do you have headphones on last week?
He did.
Yeah. I've got earphones in.
Yeah, it's just because from the angle that he was filming himself at, they just looked like a varicose vein across his neck.
Well, I'm at that age now, so varicose veins are a reality for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm most surprised you haven't got a blue rinse, Martin.
He's got loads on his dick.
Order, court is now in session. I am Lord Justice Golden E. Pump, otherwise known as Dan Whittle, and welcome to the final episode of Season 3 of the Cacophony Sessions podcast. This episode is Songs on Trial, a deep dive of 10 tracks picked by our panel of 5 this evening. The other 4, well, let me introduce them. It's Tom.
Fish don't blink, which is the main eye defense. If you're ever trying to get the eye out of a fish and it blinks, it may be a lion.
I swear they're getting worse.
They are, but I'm running out of them.
There's just so much bewilderment on everyone's face.
I was trying to find an About a Boy quote, but there aren't any funny ones, so I went back to David Mitchell and I realised I've done most of them. So it was like, I'm now like dredging the bottom of the barrel. I'll have to think of a new game for Season 4.
Yep, let's do that. Ow!
Do you believe in love at first sight, or should I walk by again?
Oh god, shambles. Jim.
Society deems driving drunk unacceptable. That's the society we live in. We have to accept those rules.
What? What?
Yeah, I'm Martin.
Hi, I'm Martin.
Mine's
I
always
went
my
to buy
favourite
some.
one.
It's bad. I went to buy some camouflage trousers because they're all the rage these days, but I couldn't find any.
Oh no!
Oh, no.
That was actually really clever.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah,
Because they're camouflage, you know.
Because they're sold out, because they're really popular. Yeah.
I need some new panelists, I think. We're not here tonight in search of undeniable bangers or undeniable clangers. No, we're not even here to rank these songs. To close the year, I thought we'd just have a chance to bring 2 songs each to the table and get all nooked up in some musical crannies. Ew. But first, hit the shit jingle. It's time for Does It Slap?
Don't trade a podcast where the jingles are crap. So let's take a good song and ask, does it slap?
I've definitely got one, but give me
Go
a
for it, Tim.
second.
It
me
better
1
not be
second.
Morbid Angel.
We will keep banging this drum.
Urban Collective, The Key, The Secret.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, I probably know
Oh,
that one.
no,
What's
actually,
that
it's a
one?
really good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the key, I got the secret. That one.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. It's just...
I mean, it's pretty good.
It's a
I don't think
banger.
I've ever had an inclination to ever listen to it when it's not on the radio. I mean, it's all right. All right, I'll give it here. Why not?
Yay! Ah, success. We're going to find out what people have been up to. And let's start this week with Alex.
Oh, I was dreading this question because I've been to absolutely nothing. Genuinely nothing. I've just been doing housework and playing Call of Duty. That's about it. Like,
What, the new one?
No, I'm too poor to get the new one. I'm on Vanguard, so finding a matchup, it takes about 10 minutes now because all the other bastards have moved on.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying myself, you know. Baphomet is still elusive.
He doesn't take our calls anymore. Martin's tried to. He had like 128 missed calls from Martin. He's not passing his number on anymore.
Yeah, I'm
What do they call that thing? There's that legal thing where you're not allowed to contact someone. That's what Baphomet took out on me.
Yeah,
order.
yeah,
I've got a restraining order. Well, when a demon puts out a restraining order on you, you know you're a bad person.
No, yeah. Well, then again, if he is like the epitome of evil, staying away from him will probably make you a good person. I mean, I don't want to be pedantic, but I'm just saying.
So, Al, have you listened to any music at all?
Other than homework and what's on my phone in the car, no.
No.
Absolutely none. I'm the worst panelist on a music podcast of all time.
Jim, what have you been doing?
Well, as usual, I've been to a few gigs. Went to see the famous Irish rock band, the Saw Doctors, the other week, who were like, I don't really know them very well. I just went because the girlfriend's parents are very into them. We just tagged along with them, but they were absolutely phenomenal. Honestly, if you get a chance to see them live, they are so good.
Okay.
But yeah, other than that, obviously Kendrick Lamar, we all went to. I won't talk too much about that because I'm sure
we might as
you've
well
got-
get it out of the way. As a trio, myself, yourself, Jim, and Tom, we went up to see Kendrick Lamar in Manchester, and I ruddy enjoyed it.
It was really good.
It was. He's a really, really good rapper, but it's what annoyed me about the gig is you listen to the no. So it was great, but like we've got to be honest about these things, right? Like we've got to have a critical eye on music. That's what people listen to us for.
People
Sort
listen
of.
to us.
Some
Well, apparently so. So the thing is, like on his records, he's got all this great stuff with like live instruments, and you go and watch him live, and it's basically like watching hip hop karaoke.
I've seen this a lot of rap, but whenever I look in like on YouTube for live rap videos, all of it's just karaoke. Like the crowd do half the work, and the choruses most of the time don't get done.
Yeah,
it's just
and there's no band. There's no band on stage. They're playing to a backing track with the most phenomenally loud bass that made everything sound like dubstep. But he is very good, and he did put on a really good show. And I liked it a lot. I'd really like to see him play with a live jazz band, though. The idea of that excites me a lot more than what we saw.
Yeah,
that
something
would be
like
really
him doing a collaboration with Bad Not Good, the Canadian instrumental funk guys, because I know that Ghostface Killer in 2015 had an album out with Bad Not Good, and that was great. I'd love to hear Kendrick do something like that. My issue was similar to Tom in that I think that the bass was just too loud. Maybe my nearly 36 years of showing there, but what I found is that I've listened to performances back through like footage or through the official videos that have been posted, and it sounds better when you're not there because you get more of his voice, whereas it's all coated in bass when you listen to it live, and it really detracts from it musically. But I still think that in terms of production levels and energy, he was incredible. He's got a very, very prominent stage presence as well, which is half the battle won already.
I mean, everything you guys just said just makes it sound rubbish. Just checking it out. I'm just saying, I remember you can't pinpoint why it was good, but you know why it was bad.
Well, it was the theatre of it, really. It was was like it was theatre, and without
He's
all of the stuff
behind
going on
you.
stage. It was just like
Punch of Judy,
like a
basically.
panto.
They have a guy called Buttons on bass.
Oh no, he
But
didn't.
no, if he'd just been stood on a normal stage, like doing, as you say, like hip hop karaoke, then it wouldn't have been anywhere near as good. But with how the stage was set up, kind of
Or the
coming out into
moving
the audience,
parts.
so no matter where you were stood, you would at some point be like so close to the stage where Kendrick was performing, and then there was a big box, and the coming up and down platforms and stuff.
Yeah,
It was very.
When you say it was like karaoke, did he have the at least the good
He
nature.
didn't have a monitor where he's reading the lyrics from.
No. But as in, a lot of rap videos I've seen, they literally just play the track and give them a mic and they rap over the actual track. They at least have a vocalless backing track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because I've seen
He was
somewhere.
rapping live. He wasn't.
Literally karaoke it.
Remind me. And the back catalogue as well. He has an incredible number of songs that, even if you're not too familiar with his albums, that you've heard, used in adverts, used in all sorts of media over the years since about 2011. And there's just so many hooks. And you've got songs like Swimming Pools Drink, and you've got All Right, King Kunta. And it's just an incredible back catalogue. And when you go through at such length and play so many of his songs as he did, it's never going to be a bad experience.
Did he do any covers?
No. I was hoping he was going to do Sweet Caroline, but no.
That'd be great.
That would be hip hop karaoke.
I just think every hip hop group, as like a law, should just do Afro Man when I get high at the end of their set. I don't think there'll be one person upset by that decision.
On another note, though, as you're all aware, I'm quite into my hot sauces, and I've just picked up a new hot sauce, which you'll probably appreciate, Whittle. It's called Purple Pain, and there's a little picture of Prince on it. This is a
I
blackberry super hot sauce.
Have you tasted it?
It's absolutely delicious.
Oh,
it's
okay.
It's like
That's
one of
good
the
to hear.
hottest sauces I've ever had. You know that sauce we bought when you were up in Manchester a few years ago, Tom?
Yeah, I remember the one.
Yeah, well, we were sweating for about half an hour afterwards.
Yeah.
And this is probably like 5% less than that. So it's
Okay.
like, it's very, very hot, but it's like, there's so much flavour in there. Like the blackberry hit is massive. And I'd highly recommend it if you're in the market for some super hot sauce. So for anyone that's listening on the actual podcast audio, this is made by Vengeful Spirit in Edinburgh.
So yeah, go check that out. It's not, to my dismay, it doesn't cost $19.99, but it's cheaper. So hurrah! Everybody wins.
Oh wow, that's amazing! Oh yeah, great.
We're not very good at plugging. Speaking of plugging, Martin, what have you been plugging?
What's his name?
That's a loaded question, man.
Well, I meant in terms of obviously your pedal board that we can see there.
Yeah, I've been plugging that.
They're not for guitars. They just open all the sex devices one by one. It's like Inspector Gadget. He just presses one of them and the dildo fires out the ceiling or something.
Yeah, the many dildos of my pedal board.
Have you consulted my dildo board?
I don't know. I've been doing my usual thing, like working a lot, cycling around, all that. But actually, I haven't been cycling because it's been too icy. It's been too cold, and like I don't want to go cycling in this weather at the moment. It's too dangerous. But
Safety first.
my band, yeah, safety first. But my band, I'm into my band more than anything. I fucking love every session that we have. It's almost like therapy. It's like when I'm in that room, nothing else in the world exists except for the 4 or 5 people in that room just making that music. We are like Radiohead. It's unbelievable.
Let's
how
not
fucking amazing
overhype us up
we are.
too much before people hear us. Eh?
I know.
Yeah. I bumped into Tom at the practice space actually about was what 3 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yes.
actually a good story. Sorry, guys.
Cool story.
Really brought that to a halt, didn't I? I like jam.
Tom, what have you been doing?
So first thing, I've got something to show. It finally arrived because I moaned about this before. So if you can see that there, that is my 5-string fretless
Illegal
US.
bass.
Oh, I just thought it was a really big ukulele.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely. The optical pickups are really, really nice. Although I've discovered a problem. When you get it from the factory, the action's a little bit high, but because it's optical pickups, to adjust the action, you also have to adjust the pickup position, and that's way too complicated for me. So I need to take it to somebody to do that. But it's lovely. It sounds great. Thoroughly recommend Wilcox Sabre basses. Really nice. But if you can get it from a shop that'll lower the action for you before you buy it, very good idea. That's my review there. I went to my cousin's wedding in Stowe on Saturday, and then was driving back on Sunday and got caught in the snow and ended up in staying the night in Cheltenham. That was interesting.
Oh, wow.
Cheltenham is not a place. It's a really nice place, but it's not somewhere I'd ever think to go. Listen to 2 new albums that I kind of like this week. Psy, they're not Japanese, I don't think, but they're an avant-garde metal band. It's like some sort of weird fever dream. It's very strange, but it's one of those albums that you should definitely try and experience at least once. And I liked the new album by Holy Thorn. It's very heavy post-metal, but I really enjoyed that. But then in the car recently, I've been listening to Martha Wainwright's debut album a lot, which is an album that everyone's probably forgotten. And if we need to revisit that, because it's a brilliant album, and it's sort of weirdly, Martha Wainwright's first album sounds a bit like what PJ Harvey became when she did Let England Shake in the late 2000s. So yeah, definitely, that's an album that you definitely need to check out. Also, the fact that as a sort of country singer, she had the nerve to release her debut single called Bloody Motherfucking Asshole.
Yeah, there's been quite a few albums that I've listened to recently. So gone through releases from previous favourites on the podcast, such as Working Men's Club, Fear, that's very good. And Fontaine's DC, Skinty Fire. I really enjoyed it. I've not got round to listening to it until much later. It came out in January, but it's good.
Yeah, I absolutely hated it. Absolutely hated it.
There were some tracks I didn't like on it.
It regularly made my toes curl with how much I disliked it. I don't know. There's something about his vocal that just, it was like fingernails on a chalkboard for me. That I Love You song.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
It's only funny because I watch you Will just go, yeah, like agreeing to something he loves. Like, I thought it was really.
I don't love it. I just thought I gave it one listen, and I thought it was all right. There were a couple of songs I didn't like, but I didn't get nails on a chalkboard.
I get the same thing with like Placebo, and also at points Smashing Pumpkins. The voice is like, no, I can't deal with the music.
Yeah, especially on the Gish album.
Yeah, well, fuck off. Gish is amazing.
Other albums from previous favourites. No Thank You has been released in the last few days by Little Sims. The follow-up to Sometimes I Might Be Introvert from last year. It's not as big and bold and bombastic as that album. It feels like a selection of maybe B-sides or songs that didn't quite make that album. But it's really good. It's still 50 minutes long, so it's not a slight release, and she's still as on point as ever. I just don't think that it's quite got as many hooks as that album from 2021. Also, a couple of other releases that I've been listening to, including Moto Mami by Rosalia. She's a Spanish artist, and she's making waves on TikTok as other pop stars are. But the album's actually more interesting than that. There's a lot. It's like if Bad Bunny's album was actually good.
Impossible. Couldn't be done.
No, it's doing really well in terms of other critics' placements for Album of the Year. So I thought, I'm going to check it out. And it is really good. It's just difficult when you can't speak Spanish to love it.
Bad Bunny is doing well in critics' end of year lists. I'm
horrified.
I don't get
that. I
don't know what they're smoking.
There were a couple of moments, as I pointed out on that episode, where he tried something different. I quite liked that. But from what we heard, it was just the same, boring. But yeah, it's come on again in my shuffles this year. And I've listened to the singles a few times, and it just doesn't do anything for me. A couple of music-related deaths that have happened in the last few weeks since we last recorded as well. One of the biggest being the passing of Christine McVie from, of course, Fleetwood Mac. my favourite member of Fleetwood Mac.
What
I'd
a
say.
legend.
Always has been. I love her songs. They're so different to the rest of the band's material, but they've been so consistent throughout their discography. She was one of the first people to join. She wasn't an original member, but she joined in about 1970 as Christine Perfect originally. Every record has got one or two of just her piano compositions, and they're just brilliant all the way through. And so many songs that have got so much longevity she had a hand in. Songbird is probably the definitive, but you've got Warm Ways, you've got Little Lies Everywhere, and Don't Stop as well. Just so many brilliant songs, so that was really sad.
Yeah.
How old was she?
She was in her 70s.
Yeah, that's what that's still a
Yeah.
shame.
Yeah, there was a documentary about her on the BBC that you have these days the other night, and I watched
That
it.
old
and,
BBC thing.
that old BBC thing.
Yeah.
And it was just like how she had a fear of flying, and she
Yeah.
didn't want to fly anymore. She just wanted a nice country home and just spend the rest of her days like in an English country home, kind of like just chilling out and stuff. And I was like, that's fucking so nice. It's so relatable. This woman is one of the biggest bands in the universe, toured the world and stuff. And she was just like, I just want to chill out with my chickens and shit, you know? And, yeah, it was just so nice to see that. And the fact that she was able to do that, she was able to like, just go, yeah, I was in Fleetwood Mac, and just end her life like on her own terms.
She was the Dennis Bergkamp of rock and roll.
Yeah, she's amazing.
You're right. I'm glad you said
rest
before
in
I did,
peace,
Whittle.
Tony. What an amazing band, though. Like, you know, people write off Fleetwood Mac and they go, oh, it's like, you know, 70s big rock.
They
thing.
were excellent.
But, like,
I love
they're
them.
fucking incredible songwriters. They were excellent. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, so I think the ballsiest thing Christine McVie did was writing "You Make Loving Fun"
Oh, yeah.
about
John McVie.
yeah. Well, no. So the song's about the lighting director.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so she was having an affair with the lighting director of Fleetwood Mac and wrote "You Make Loving Fun," not about her husband, but about the lighting director she was having an affair with, while her husband had to play the bass on the song that she wrote about the person she was having an affair with.
There's so many stories like that on Rumours. It's insane.
Yeah. That was Fleetwood Mac all over, wasn't it? You know, the Stevie Nicks and stuff.
Well, Stevie Nicks was having an affair with Mick Fleetwood, the drummer.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to Lindsey Buckingham, who was putting all the guitar licks on the songs that she was writing.
I just love the story about the fact that they were writing songs about each other and they had to sing them to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They had to like sing these songs night after night on tour about like, you know, the infidelity and the fucking affairs and stuff. And the person that they were having an affair with was right there on stage and they had to fucking play these songs. Absolutely
You don't get more rock and roll than that.
No, you don't. And I don't get why. I still don't understand the whole kicking Lindsey Buckingham out the band thing later on. I don't get it.
Yeah, in the last
He's
couple
a
of years.
genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking nuts.
He was also very controlling, so I can sort of understand. If you couldn't stand to be in the same room as him, it makes sense getting rid of him. But
yeah, it's
he
like
was
the
great.
Smiths with Morrissey and Marr. They hate each other, but we'd all love them to make music again. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things that's from the outside. You're like, why are you not in the recording studio making
Talking
these
Heads
songs?
is another one. Talking Heads should
Yeah.
are all alive. They should be making music, but they all hate David Byrne.
I mean, that would be enough, wouldn't it? If you just
Yeah.
Well, look at Suede's second album, Dogman Star, is quite interesting because the singer and the guitarist wouldn't even be in the studio at the same time as each other. They refused flat out. So the guitarist went in, recorded his guitar parts, and then the singer sings everything over the top afterwards. Like they did.
Was that was that when Bernard Butler was still? in the
Yeah, it
band?
was Bernard Butler.
Yeah,
That's the last. He did the first two albums and then left.
Who was also a genius. Bernard Butler is amazing.
Another one who passed away recently, Martin, I know you'll be sad, Angelo Badalamenti.
Yeah,
Composer
very
of
sad.
Twin Peaks, worked heavily with David Lynch throughout his career. Did music for Mulholland Drive, Blue Velvet. Also did the music for Dark Water, the really shit American remake of a Japanese horror classic. But Angelo Badalamenti's contributions to Twin Peaks are well, you don't have Twin Peaks being the phenomenon that it is without that soundtrack. For me, it's so
absolutely agree.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
important to how you observe each scene that you simply cannot have the same show without that sound.
I mean, just to be devil's advocate, I mean, we've never seen it without his soundtrack, so
You've never seen it at all, Alex.
so
So you can shut
just
your
saying it
face.
could be better.
Well,
I'm just saying we just don't know. There's just we can't just chuck frivolous comments around like that. Maybe he's the worst one that could have done it. You never know. Stick a Wes Borland riff over it. Maybe it's better. I don't know. How can we say
No, but
this?
seriously
Twin
though, like,
Biscuits.
Angelo Badalamenti's like contribution to film soundtrack is up there with Hans Zimmer in that it absolutely encompassed the
Oh, don't start
universe.
Tom again.
He's really good. I like Hans Zimmer. He's probably my favourite of the
Zimmer brothers.
Zimmer brothers.
But also, like, I want to draw attention to Badalamenti's performance in Mulholland Drive when he's at the table and he does this spitting coffee thing.
Yeah, it's just so weird.
It's so out there and so random and weird. It's
He's
proper
part of the
Lynch, you know.
conspiracy that where they've got like a board of shadowy directors that have a photo. It's such a great film.
That's such a great film.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to watch it as soon as this podcast is done.
I've been tempted.
I'm just still thinking about the idea of like the opening credits of I've gone blank what it's called now.
Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks, sorry, yeah, Twin Peaks of just the intro for hot dog flavored water, just one.
Chocolate starfish.
That's all I can think of now. Just like the nice like forest background. Bring it on, dude.
I know why you want to hate me.
Class out.
I think you may have ruined Twin Peaks for not just me, for everyone.
If you ever watch it now, in your head you'll just hear that.
You ruined it. That's it. That's gone. Another person who did pass away is Wilco Johnson from Dr. Feelgood. Also an actor, was in Game of Thrones, I believe.
Yeah, he was.
And been ill for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But seemed to be doing better than expected, but eventually passed away.
I saw Dr. Feelgood live once and they were
nice.
fucking incredible. Absolutely incredible. Just like his approach to the guitar was so fucking phenomenal in his like kind of, what's the word? Accuracy. Like, so he would do these really like what would sound like really simple riffs, but they weren't simple. I've tried playing some Wilco Johnson stuff and it's very difficult. It's very hard. A bit like Stevie Ray Vaughan, you know, it's very like, sounds easy, but it's really, really difficult. Massive loss. I loved watching him play, and he did that walking back and forth thing that he does. It was so fucking cool. Made it
quite
look
menacing.
effortless. Yeah, very menacing. It was not effortless. It was like his guitar parts are extremely complex. It's what a great guy. What a massive loss, actually. A big influence on me as well. Like, yeah, massive influence.
Yeah. Rest in power. A couple of notices to give. The Patreon is going live, and you will be able to see all of our episodes in the future in full length on the Patreon. We will also be doing Songs on Trial mini episodes where 2 or 3 of us will get together and discuss 2 or 3 songs, and that'll be available on a higher tier. Other than that, you'll be able to listen to us for free in its entirety in all the usual places on all the platforms. The blog will keep you updated, thecacophonysessions.wordpress.com. Follow us on Twitter at CACSessionsPod, on Facebook, facebook.com/cacophony sessions. Give us a review on Apple Music if you can, on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a like on YouTube, subscribe, do all the stuff involving bells and all that kind of thing. So, we've got 10 songs to discuss this evening, and we have not picked these for any particular reason. They don't necessarily have to be undeniable bangers, because sometimes we all get a little bit political and pick something that we think should have been picked just because a band doesn't deserve to be on the list. So we're getting rid of the undeniable bangers for tonight. If we find one, that's a bonus. Undeniable clangers, yeah, no. It's just 10 songs, deep dive, meat and gravy. So we're going to start tonight with Al's choice. And rather than me give the explanation, I'm going to let Al present the song and why he picked it and all that gump.
Well,
You know.
wouldn't you like to know why I picked this song? Yeah.
We'd also like to know what it is as well.
Well, I have picked It's Like That by the hip-hop group Run DMC, but specifically the single version released in 97, remixed by house DJ Jason Nevins, who I'm not familiar with most of this work. I think we've all heard this song, you know,
Yeah.
It's like that, and that's the way it is. It's a hula. Exactly, everyone remembers the hula. It sold around 5 million copies worldwide, placing it amongst the biggest selling singles of all time. And in 2008, it was ranked number 40 on VH1's 100 greatest hip-hop songs of all time. And it is undeniably a banger.
It is undeniably a banger.
I mean, I think this song pretty much like made breakdancing popular for like 10 years.
Yeah. Like when you pick the song, I remember when this came out and was like, because it was number one, and I recall it was just number one for bloody ages. But on reading Wikipedia, apparently it was only number one for 6 weeks. But so that's how long childhood time feels.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a banger! And to learn that it kept the Spice Girls stop from number one. That's
Nice you've been on Wikipedia too.
another bonus for another bonus for the track.
I like the original, but the remix is pretty fucking stonking. It's great. Does everyone else like it? There's not really much more to say. There's not really much more to say like this. I don't know too much about the groups individually, and I just know I really like this song. I picked this one because the day of being asked, okay, we've got to start confirming these, I heard this on the radio at work, and I made a mental note. I was like, actually, yeah, this song fucking rules. So, yeah, that's why I picked it. No more, because I knew it, like you guys said like earlier, it's really hard to pin down like just 2 songs you really want to put forward. So I'm a bit half-assed, but just went my gut instinct on the day. And I think we've all been pleasantly surprised by how great my picks were.
That is a great pick, and as a massive fan of 80s and early 90s hip hop, it was really cool to see Run DMC get the recognition that they absolutely deserved. It brought a new audience to that band. They were fucking amazing. Run DMC are fucking incredible, like so important, so like crucial to hip hop in general. And to have like a track like that, going to check out Run DMC's like early back catalogue and stuff. Fucking amazing. It's an important song in the sense that it wasn't just a slammer. It was just like, yeah, look at Run DMC, man. Run DMC are fucking incredible. Absolutely a brilliant band. People probably got into hip hop through a track like that. Yeah.
I like the bit like the added though, like this Nevins fella, you know, what's that like bit was like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nevins fella.
There's Nevins fella. You know, Nevins.
Jason.
What's that bit after like the 3rd or 4th chorus when it's like the female vocalist? I have no idea what the lyrics are, but it's like what? Like, yeah, no. So we'll remember that bit.
Yeah.
Bit's pretty good. I like that bit. And then he goes, check this out. And then he goes straight back into rapping. It's pretty fucking awesome.
Tom, go on. Say something.
Dance monkey. Dance.
Sorry, I just suddenly realised that I had nothing to say because all I could think of is if we let Al speak, he'll just do the whole song in.
If he goes over 40%, we're stuffed on copyright.
Yeah.
I don't have a huge amount to say on this song, really. Like,
It's one of those ones, isn't it? It's hard to just be like, you can't go in depth. It's just pretty good.
Yeah. I knew it straight away. It doesn't hold any emotional resonance for me, but I
Well-
like straight away I know it, you know?
I decided I don't like this song anymore.
Ah.
I'm going to be the guy that stops it from being an
Ooh.
undeniable banger. The original, I love, and I used to really think this was an improvement on the original, but now, like 25 years removed, it is just the original with a house beat over the top, and it's hip house much later than hip house was kind of incepted in the early 90s, so it's quite late on. But yeah, I can't deny it was massively popular and it did captivate the public. I have a personal reason why this song has kind of deteriorated in my appreciation of it. As somebody who is known in their younger years for dancing quite a bit, I've had at least 20 dance-offs to this song. And there is nothing you can do as somebody whose dancing style is the equivalent of shit posting. There is nothing you can do to this song unless it's breakdancing that looks impressive. So as soon as somebody can do one body pop move, they come along to this, they body pop, I'm done. What am I going to do? And this song has ruined so many dance-offs for me because I can't do shit to this. And I just, fuck you, this song. I'm glad I can finally say 25 years later that this song made me lose my style in a nightclub many, many times. So yeah, take that.
It wasn't the song's fault, Whipple.
No, it wasn't. It was totally my fault. And I just thought, yeah, I'm going to unload on this song. But in retrospect, it is just, I've gone beyond that in terms of house and hip hop. There were lots of songs in the mid 90s that had this particular style, and I think most of them are better. And I prefer the original, and that's all I'm going to say now.
Well, I personally like it. So, in my humblest opinion, you are wrong.
So I think the majority of people do like this song, though.
Yeah, what's the general consensus then?
It's a thumbs down from me, but everyone else gives it a thumbs up. Tom's got a wavering hand.
I think I'm with you, Dan, in that I do actually prefer the original. It's a good but not great.
The original is about a financial crisis and people struggling with poverty. And I think that when you listen to the original in the kind of electro style that it's done, it gives more prominence to the lyrics. And in this version, it takes away from that, edits the lyrics down, cuts out several verses, and just hits the fucking beat all the way. And it's just propelled by this house beat. And it loses the nuance of the original. And I think that's why I would say I prefer the original. Next up tonight, I'll let you decide which one you're going to talk about, Jim.
Okay, so my first pick is by a London-based DIY punk band. This is from the 2014 album Nervous Racehorse. The band is Wonk Unit. They're probably one of the most exciting and unique British punk bands that are about at the moment. Released a phenomenal album last year. But the song I've picked is Lewisham.
I
like that
fucking
song.
love this. I fucking loved it. I thought the guitar tones on this song were fucking amazing. Like, just that intro, the way it comes in. You can tell that whoever the guys in the band are, they know their equipment. And it just sounded so fucking raw. And, like, the guitar tone was perfect.
I am so surprised Martin loved this song.
Yeah, I did.
I was
Mine-
expecting
mine-
to
I
get
liked
a
it a
slate
lot.
from Martin.
Mine's
No.
pretty open when it comes to a bit of this sort of punk music.
Yeah,
It's surprised me in the past.
I like my punk. I just think this isn't punk in the way that people see punk. It's like people see punk as like the whole dirty thing. But the guitar tones were really well thought out. There's just, yes, this is great. It's fucking awesome. Yeah, I really like this song. It stood out to me in the whole playlist. This whole hilarious playlist. This song stood out to me. I fucking love it.
Well, this is one of the few of the songs on the actual playlist which I listen to. This is actually on my car mix, so I do listen to this song. When it came up, I was like, oh, I know this one, yeah, it's good. A few of the others I've never heard of before.
I had 2 notes on this song. I really enjoyed it, and I wrote, I'm very disappointed that James didn't nominate this for the pop punk episode. That was one
It's not
comment
pop
I made. It's close enough.
Yeah.
It's closer than any of Martin's picks were.
Yeah, that's true.
To be fair, Buck was fucking closer.
And then I've written, why is he singing about working with tomatoes?
Yeah.
Because that's a line he repeats over and over again. And I don't get it. What does Lewisham have to do with tomato?
And pissing on someone at the door.
Yeah, I was like, apart from that, I really enjoyed it. But it's just the fact he repeats the line working with tomatoes like quite a few times. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, I think part of the song is about trying to get the train home from a night out and there not being a toilet, so having to piss out the window, but you accidentally piss on someone's face.
Okay.
I didn't get that. Not a situation I found myself in many times. So I liked the production and I thought the guitar sounded great. I don't know what it was with this song, but for some reason I like most punk songs like this that are a bit tongue-in-cheek, but I've listened to it about 6 or 7 times and I don't find anything memorable about this song. Well, I do remember the lyrics, but I don't remember any melodies. I don't remember much about it. I just thought it was quite unremarkable. Sorry, Jim.
I think you could have picked Elbows. I think that's a better song.
You could have picked half the songs on that album or any other album, really.
No, just Elbows.
Go Easy would have been a good choice from Nervous Racehorse as well.
That's
that song,
yeah.
a banger.
Oh, the album's pretty much a banger, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone hasn't listened to One Unit, give them a go.
King's Road Sporting Heroes as well. That's a cracker on that.
I recognise it, but I don't know what all the track names are a bit.
The King's Road Sporting Heroes, what a disgusting bunch. Schooled in buggery, bullying and rugby, bunch of cunts.
It's got a half man, half biscuit kind of satirical lyrics based in quotidian situations. It's a bit rougher sounding than half man, half biscuit. Well, the later stuff anyway. So I thought it was kind of half man, half hobnob, maybe. Okay, we'll edit that one out.
no. If you could just edit in crickets, that'd be better.
Again, I will say, nice one for name-checking Half Man, Half Biscuit, who are like an underrated band. I think they're amazing. Westward Ho, Massive Letdown, my favourite song of theirs.
Bad arm, shit tattoo. All I want for Christmas is a Dukla Prague away kit. That's a good one. Or it's cliche to be cynical at Christmas.
Underrated band, great band. That was a good fucking choice.
Next song, Martin. We'll hear from you. One of your suggestions for the evening.
I chose "Mystified" by In Excess. What can be said about them?
I don't know. Say it.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, who doesn't know who In Excess are? We all know Need You Tonight and stuff, but Michael Hutchence had one of the greatest voices of all time. Like, his voice was just so perfect, so like fit whatever song he was singing. So it might be like Mystify, which is my choice, or it might be like Need You Tonight, where he's all like sexy and shit, or it might be one of the ballads off one of their albums where it's all like all sad and shit.
Never
like,
Tear Us Apart.
Never Tear Us Apart, exactly. I just think Michael Hutchence is one of the most underrated vocalists of our time.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that.
I would definitely say this is the catchiest song of our playlist. I really enjoyed this song as well, actually. I don't listen to too much In Excess, I guess, but when listening through our quite unique playlist, let's say, it was a welcome change. I think it was good. I liked it.
It's a great song in the sense that even though Michael Hutchence's voice is to the fore and it's really important and you can hear it like really clearly, the band itself is so good in the way they are able to play less, if that makes sense. So you've got that piano riff. That piano is fucking amazing, and then you've got that little rhythm guitar, to da 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 da, and then that lead guitar part. The band are kind of like going, right, what's going to make this song work? Let's not overblow it. They're all doing their own thing in a very minimal way. They're just a great ensemble piece in the sense that they let each instrument breathe. And there's a lot of space in this song. There's a lot of space in the sense that, like, nobody is trying to show off except for Michael Hutchence, who is allowed to show off because
That's his
he has
job.
an incredible voice. That's his job. So the rest of the band, let him do his thing. We'll just sit back and we'll just do the rhythm. And it's a very rhythmic song. There's, apart from some of the lead guitar parts, there's not a lot of melody going on in the song. It's all Michael Hutchence. A perfect example of a band who are able to let the ego to one side and go, what does the song need? And just serve the song. Like I said, like the drummer episode, it's all about what does the song need? And we'll do that. And it's like, it's not about me being the great guitar player. It's not about me being like the fucking coolest dude in the band or whatever. It's about going, the song is the most important thing. And I think it's one of the most well-constructed songs I've ever heard in my life.
I think there's a reason for that. So I was looking into the history of In Excess a little bit. And Kick, the 1987 album, probably their biggest album that this is from. This is actually the 5th single from Kick. It was actually released 2 years later in 1989. This was the first time they wrote an album, and it was just Andy Farris and Michael Hutchence, the keyboardist and the vocalist. They wrote all the songs as a songwriting duet. So it gives it that kind of Hall & Oates, McCartney, Lennon songwriter partnership. And that's perhaps why the instruments served the song so well, because they were written by just two people from the perspective of basically piano and vocal compositions. It was all written by them around those pieces, as opposed to contributed by the drummer or Gary Beers, the bass player, one of the best named bass players ever.
His name's Gary.
Yeah.
Gary Beers.
Wow.
Yep, it's a great name.
My love for In Excess is extreme, to be fair. But just seeing like the process of, let's just one guy, a piano and a singer, and that's it. That's all you need. Everything else is just fluff on the top, if that makes sense.
It gives it a very power pop style to it.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a late 80s Australian sexified version of something that Todd Rundgren could have done in the early 70s.
The chorus isn't strong enough to be a Todd Rundgren.
I'm not saying in terms of quality, but in terms of trying to write pop songs with more instruments and a more jangly guitar spirit to it.
I can see why Martin likes In Excess, but they'll never do it for me, and that's totally fine. But I can see why he likes it. Although I will also say that we're going to have an In Excess drinking game, because I think Martin is now nominated In Excess for more episodes than you've nominated Prince for.
Yeah, I feel that is correct, and I feel strangely vindicated at the same time.
I thought you might. I just thought I'd bring that up.
That's true. I do bring up In Excess in every podcast, but I love them so much.
I'll say something about In Excess anyway. I quite liked that song. I'm not like hugely into it, but I really enjoyed the general piano riff and how that interacted with the vocals. I especially enjoy the minimalist chorus and like having the bigger bit being the verse.
In terms of the In Excess singles, I mentioned there's 5 of them from this album. I think this is my 5th favourite, though. I think it's my least favourite single from the album, Kick, because you've got Need You Tonight, which is a banger, Never Tear Us Apart, which I love, New Sensation, which did get nominated on our 87 episode, which I love. I think the 4th was Kick itself, the title track, which is a great song. So I think just by de facto, this is the 5th best single on the album. It's a great album. I wouldn't give this undeniable banger status just on the strength of the other 4. But yeah, it's a great album, and more people need to be aware of In Excess. I think he died at the wrong time, like dying in the late 90s, away from the mystique of Kurt Cobain. They fizzled out a little bit. He didn't die in the late 80s or early 90s when they were super hyped. And so in terms of like, it didn't add anything to the mystique of In Excess when he died, in the same way that Nirvana are now immortalized through the passing of Kurt Cobain. I don't think that Michael Hutchence's death, even despite the extraordinary circumstances of his death, I don't think they've got that kind of legacy. I think Martin's right. He is an underrated vocalist. He's somebody who had his own style And he was just pure rock and roll through and through. His lifestyle, the way he presented himself on stage, a true unsung hero, I think, Michael Hutchence.
I think In Excess is one of the greatest bands of all time. That's my hot.
I wouldn't go so far.
They are undeniably one of the greatest bands who've ever committed music to tape. You know,
I don't even think they're top 5 Australian bands, but
No, I don't think they are.
man, they are for me.
they might have made my top 10.
Listen to something like Suicide Blonde. You know,
Yeah,
just,
that's a great
they're just incredible. I
I
just
love
think
them. I love them. I'm a big
In
fan.
Excess are so underrated. They're so underrated that they're a bit like, early Coldplay were great. They're a bit that in that way. People see them and go, like, "Oh, it's In Excess," or whatever. They're actually fucking amazing.
They're the Australian Duran Duran.
Yes,
That's
they
quite
are.
inappropriate.
They're the Australian Duran Duran.
Yeah. It's probably why I'm not a huge fan, because I don't like that band either.
We'll move on. First song that I have picked to discuss this evening is from 1973, and the name of the song is Fence Walk. The band that made Fence Walk are a Latin funk band called Mandrill, and they were around in the early 70s, inspired by other Latin funk acts like War, and they took things instrumentally from work that Carlos Santana in the band Santana were doing. They drew influence on the work of Funkadelic earlier in the decade and what Sly and the Family Stone were doing, and they really had this Brooklyn-based but Latin-inspired funk fusion sound going on. This is probably the most famous and best thing that they ever did. It's a 7-minute stomp through a wonderful unison chant over a funk groove with some amazing drums by Neftali Santiago, really holding down that groove. Lots of horns. The Wilson brothers, Sweet Lou Wilson on trumpet, Carlos Wilson on saxophone, and Rick Doc Wilson on various other instruments. But the star of the show is Amar Mesa, the guitarist for Mandrill, because from about the halfway point, he really, really rips on the guitar solo, and it transforms it from a fun groove into a really galloping, a really powerful, energetic and aggressive guitar solo. And I love every second of this song. I discovered it probably 15 years ago or so in just a list of funk songs that everybody needs to hear, and it would be one of the first songs on my list of recommendations from anyone starting out in funk music that isn't just standard James Brown or something like that. This is a deep cut in terms of funk, and it is so rewarding that I just love it. Every time I go back to it, I find something new, something that catches me, be it percussion, be it another guitar lick, the bass, the clavinet that's played by Claude Coffee Cave. You might recognize the clavinet from Superstition by Stevie Wonder, and that's prominent in this song as well. It's just a cauldron of really funky ideas and licks, and it really comes together really well. I love this song. It's one of my top songs ever.
This was probably my favourite on the playlist, actually.
Really?
I really loved it. Like, I've never heard of this band, but like the bass is phenomenal. Like that, the Hammond organ that's going on, it's beautiful. Just non-stop groove the entire way. It's exactly what I love about Parliament and Funkadelic, but just now another band I can listen to that I didn't know existed. So
yeah, there's not a wealth of material with Mandrill. This is their most well-known song. It was actually covered by D'Angelo in the 90s as well. He did an all-right version of it. This is their legacy. There isn't much to go back. But there's certainly a band that when you stick on an album, it's full of grooves. Not as memorable as this. But yeah, definitely a prime example of a song you should listen to if you're thinking about chasing the funk.
What's interesting about this song is if you took the horns out, you could put it on a krautrock or a prog album and it wouldn't sound out of place.
No, I can hear that, yeah.
I was listening to it and the guitar bit in the middle, and it's like, so I grew up with, my mum was really into a German krautrock band called Amon Duel, and I was listening to it in the middle and I was like, yeah, if you took the horns out, it sounds exactly like Amon Duel, which is not a bad thing, I should add. That's not a bad thing, but it's why I can see that this would be quite a good gateway to funk from somebody from a prog or a prog or even a more sort of 90s in like Radiohead type indie background, because it has a lot of those features in it.
If an alien came down to Earth and was like, show me, what does funk music sound like? That's what I would play them. I'd be like, that is funk.
I mean, there's not really much more to say about the song, is it? It is just funky as fuck, and it's somebody who has a Joe Satriani guitar solo, what sounds like it. And it's funk enough for the funk guys to enjoy it, and it's got a mean guitar bit to get some rock crossover.
Yeah,
and
the crossover
it's pretty catchy.
is
And,
enormous.
What else do you need? Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, then, from the sounds of it, I'm going to pose it. Fence Walk by Mandrill, undeniable banger.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm agreeing. Yeah. 100% yes.
Yes, just.
Yeah, I'm with Tom. I'll give it just. It's all right. Funk's not necessarily my type of music at the moment, so. But as far as it goes, I assume it's a good version of it. It's all right. I quite like it. I just prefer your other song.
Well, we'll get
Really?
there. We'll get there.
Really?
We'll get there. So, Tom, bring us a song to tonight's conversation. Let's get stuck in.
Okay, so the first one I'm going to go for, back in 2003, I went to see a gig in Brixton Academy on a Wednesday night. So I was off school. I went with my piano teacher, and I went to see Placebo play at Brixton Academy, and they were supported by the 80s Matchbox Beeline Disaster and another band called Colour of Fire. And the singer from that band, I just had this voice that just blew me away. Anyway, Colour of Fire then disappeared. And a few years later, I was doing a bit of music journalism, and I got sent a compilation CD from a Leeds-based record label called Dance to the Radio. And there was a track on there called Shipping Forecast by a band called Grammatics that was one of the greatest things I'd ever heard at the time. Like, his voice is amazing. They're a 4-piece guitar, cello, bass, and drums. Everything was really well put together. And then they released their first album, which is it's definitely in my top 5 albums of all time. And I used to go around to my friend Lewis's on a Friday, and it'd be one of the albums we used to listen to before we go out in town. And then after the album, they released a single that wasn't on the album originally. And it's that single that I've picked, and it's a track called Double Negative. It came out and it just absolutely blew me away. And I think what makes me really upset is that this band never went on to make another album in the vein of this track, because an album in the vein of this track would be amazing. I mean, the thing that's so incredible and so impressive about this band is if you took any of the instruments out, what's very interesting is they lay down a bass and a drum groove, and the bass tone is massive, and then the guitar part and the cello part are really just providing these like little sharp accents. And then when it kicks into the chorus, he brings this melody part in on the guitar that's just heartbreaking. His vocal just absolutely soars in the chorus. He's one of my favorite vocalists. And then he just throws in this like really dissonant scream that just is just a really short snippet, and then it's out again. When they repeat sections, so it does verse, chorus, it takes quite a while to get to the first chorus, but when the verses repeat, they play it ever so slightly differently each time. And it's just really cleverly put together. The chorus is catchy. It's heavy without using distorted guitars particularly. Like there's no like crunching riff, yet it still sounds humongous. Like, I mean, what more can I say about it? Like, it's beautiful. It's propulsive. It's well put together, and I wish the band had carried on. He is actually now in another band called Too Much Future, who I don't like as much as I like Grammatics. But they're good.
I thought he sounded like the singer of the Hoosiers.
Yeah, he does.
A little bit, but better.
I actually would disagree. I thought Hoosiers' singer was a bit more powerful in his delivery, but you know, I'm just being difficult.
I've seen the Hoosiers live, and I've seen Grammatics live supporting Block Party in Plymouth. Yeah, they actually played in Plymouth, a band that did. And live, Owen Brindley definitely has a more powerful voice.
I'm sure that's true. I'm only basing this purely off CDs. But I thought the song's all right. I mean, I'm up front. I don't think this is necessarily a banger. I think it's pretty good, but I guess I didn't get the love that Tom did initially when he listened to it. Yeah. Sorry, Tom. Next number.
Great band. This is a great song. I think I must have had the album from before they attached this to it.
Yeah,
because I don't know this song at all, and I know the album fairly well. And yeah, it's good. I'd probably say most of the songs on the album are better than it, but that might just be that I'd not heard it until the other day.
Yeah, the whole album is brilliant. There's not a bad track on it. Whereas I think as a standalone track, I like this one better. It doesn't actually, I don't find it fits on the album very well. When you get the vinyl, they've tacked it on at the end with a couple of other tracks and it doesn't flow into it as well. But I think I just love the chorus of this song so much that I've listened to this song on repeat
it's a great chorus
times.
I really like this song. My notes here says it sounds like Alphabeat on steroids. Do you remember Alphabeat?
I do remember Alphabeat.
They were around about the same time. They reminded me of that late 2000s indie pop vibe. This is instrumentally much better. It's very catchy. That keep your lipstick on its forehead for in a day. It's an interesting refrain because I get the sense it's quite bitter at somebody becoming a bit promiscuous because they look better now. It surprised me. It was in 4/4 for a start. I was like, wow, Tom's gone 4/4. It's got a bit of a weird sound effect used as percussion throughout the song that's 2010s pop staple. So it was a bit of ahead of its time in that respect. I thought it was excellent. I really rated the song, and I did listen to a couple of others from the album as well. So I was surprised I hadn't heard of these. I really liked, is it Dilemma?
That was going to be my other nomination.
That's another good one. But I think I slightly preferred this song, so I'm glad you did go with this one. It's a thumbs up from me.
Yeah, absolutely love it.
Am I going to be the guy, am I? Come on, mate.
Sorry, I've been that guy.
It's just a great track. It's just well put together, like great musicians, And when I listen to music, I listen to the musicianship. I listen to each individual part and I go like, what are you bringing to the table? And that song makes me think that's kind of a band I want to get more into because
unfortunately, it's only one album.
Yeah.
But it's obvious they're all great musicians and I want to hear more of that. I just love bands where each musician is fucking incredible in their own way, but just bring their own humility to the finished product. And that song that Tom nominated, The Grakes, it's a really good example of that. It's like they're great musicians and they're not trying to outshow anyone. They're just going I'm good at this thing, and they do that thing really well. I wouldn't mind exploring them a little bit more, to be fair, but it didn't blow my mind or anything. I was just like, yeah, that's some good musicians doing their thing.
So, Al, if you'd like to introduce us to your second song of the evening.
Oh, yeah, of course. I'd love to. As I procrastinate,
Can't remember what it is.
When I procrastinate, as I tried to... Oh, God, I didn't get a Wikipedia page up for this one. All right, well, anyways, ICP, Hocus Pocus, and it fucking rules. If anyone's ever heard it, the guys are from Detroit. It's on their fourth album, Great Milenko. I own the album. It's not the best album. I'll be brutally honest. I had a one after it, The Amazing Jekyll Brothers, which was quite frankly awful. When I was 13, 14, I pretty much convinced myself that they were good. They are not. They are truly, truly awful. If you guys haven't seen the one song where they just have, it's like they're on a Christian album when they just have one song that just goes like, "Isn't life amazing?" But like,
Yeah, is that
lyrics
the one
are-
where the lyrics say, "Fucking magnets, man? How does that work?"
Yeah, it's incredible. It's the most dumbass. Well, what's that song called? It's gonna annoy me now, but it's the most dumbass music ever. But this song here, I will maintain, slaps. The single most people would have heard is, in fact, made by our boy Nevins, who remixed the single version of this.
That Nevins fella.
Yeah, Nevins fella. That was completely not planned. That was just found out on Wikipedia before coming on the podcast. So that really is proof, as ICP would say, like magnets, that God is real. But yeah, I really like the song. Obviously the lyrics are complete trash, but it's supposed to be.
Obviously.
Yeah,
it's Insane Clown Posse.
But they're supposed to be trash because they're obviously rapping about a fictitious circus and all that stuff. And I like the groove in I like the beat in it. I think their flow is actually really good. So I like their delivery, and it genuinely makes me laugh in some places. The dumbest lyrics ever, like what Milenko. What that's always one of my favorite ones. Like Mako, he asked me for 3 wishes so that night I fucked 3 fat bitches. I mean, that's just fucking hilarious. like how dumb is that? I don't know. I just really liked this song, and it was because, as I said, I was picking these rather flippantly. The day before I picked, I went on about a 2-hour ICP marathon on YouTube while stoned.
Oh God!
And I just had it in my head. So I was like, you know what? I do like that song.
And whoever said cannabis impairs your judgment.
It's a pretty good song. I mean, I will never say ICP are good because they, quite frankly, have made some awful songs. But I think this one is one of their few diamonds in the rough, and I think it's just a fun listen.
It's a lot more rough than diamond there.
Well, it's very much but it's in that hip hop style of like House of Pain and stuff, music wise, and their flow's not bad in it at all. It's not. I think the way they do it is rather unique and pretty good, and if you can get your head around the quite frankly juvenile Limp Bizkit era sort of lyrics,
yeah, I can.
You'll really enjoy it.
And that's the song. If you could pretend it's a different song, then yeah, maybe I might. Yeah,
but it's fun. I mean, how can we take the clown rap group seriously?
No.
I mean, their lyrics aren't like, they don't really reflect society enough. It's like, fuck off. It's some clowns rapping with a bit of swearing to make your parents angry, and it's fun.
I just don't understand how you can like this and simultaneously be a Cypress Hill fan, because this just sounds like what would happen if you gave Cypress Hill a lobotomy.
Why is that a bad thing? I enjoy it. Yeah, that's exactly why I like it.
Insane in the no brain.
It's incredible. It's great. I mean, come on, like, how many rap songs do you guys like, which is just juvenile and stupid? I mean,
quite a few. I mean,
80% of them easily. For every one, like, talking about social mobility or something song, you have 8 songs about, fucking bitches. I mean, and you listen to the album, enjoy the album. Just think of it as one of those dumb songs, which has got a good flow and a good beat.
The problem is, it's that their entire discography is the same thing over and over
We're
again.
not judging that. We're judging this song.
We are judging one song.
We are judging this one song on its merit. And for you to be overly critical would be, I think, wrong, and quite frankly, be embarrassing yourself.
I'm going to read from my notes here, because I've written, this is the worst song on this list by some distance. An annoying, pointless, shrill, limp, anemic skin tag of a hip-hop duo run the streets of Cairo into the ground as they sing about former WCW Cruiserweight champion, the man of 1,000 holds, Dean Malenko. I don't know if it's actually about him, because I can't listen to their charmless flow without wishing I was listening to something better, like the Go Compare adverts. This is trash. All 4 Bad Bunny songs that we listen to are better than this, and it's the Jeremy Kyle show of rap metal.
I think you literally made up your mind before you even listened to it. That's my honest opinion.
Well, kind of, but then I listened to it about 5 times.
Well, what part of it's Limp? It's not a Limp song.
Their flow is so like Donald Trump. It's like, I'm the best, and it's just rubbish. It's just
That's every rapper we're talking about.
Yeah, but the other rappers sound
Okay,
good.
you told Little Sims earlier, right? Did she big herself up in the songs?
Yeah, but she sounded good doing it.
Invalid then. Sorry. ICP is still good. Next person.
I will actually go so far as to say I didn't particularly hate this.
Wait, and you've hated loads of what people deem good rap songs, which must make this pretty good.
I appreciate most Insane Clown Posse I've listened to. I have absolutely hated. I cannot understand why they chose to make 4 concept albums about the same thing. I mean,
because they're geniuses. A voice of a generation, Tom.
But I don't.
Generation X.
Exactly.
I think I quite like their delivery, and I quite like what they've done with the samples on it. It's fine. I'm not going to be giving it any sort of banger status. I could rip the band apart, but I can't rip this song apart.
Is anyone else not heavily biased against ICP like Whittle?
There's a reason I'm heavily biased against ICP, and it's because they're awful.
But why do you think that? This song isn't awful.
I
Yeah, other songs we've all completely agreed. Their other songs are awful, but this
a couple
song
of months
is
ago
definitely
we did early 90s hip hop, right? And we listened to so many songs that sounded like this probably 7 years before this song came out, and all of them sounded more ahead of their time than this one.
Oh, had you, Fry?
Yeah.
What do you prefer, this song or any Run the Jewels song you've heard?
I'd pick this over Run the Jewels any time.
Yeah. So this is already better than some of the top hip hop we've already decided on.
I just hate Run the Jewels so much, though. The thing that annoys me is the individual members of Run the Jewels. I like everything they've done outside of Run the Jewels, but something about Run the Jewels I hate. I hate Run the Jewels more than Insane Clown Posse. I would rather listen to Insane Clown Posse's entire discography back to back than a single Run the Jewels.
Hey, no, let's not say anything we can't take back. Okay, I like ICP, and even I know 99% of it's just horrible.
Yeah, but I'd still rather listen to it than Run the Jewels.
Wow.
Fight words.
Come on, Martin. You must have some
Please
opinion
let
to
Martin
say.
like this. Please let Martin like this song.
I don't think you're in luck there, man.
It doesn't sound that far off House of Pain before you start talking.
I love old school hip hop, and I'm a massive Run the Jewels fan. Sorry, Tom. But it was. I enjoyed the beat. But it was very lazy in its sample choice. I was just kind of like, well, it just wasn't very clever. I didn't like it a lot.
But it was not supposed to be clever, so.
I know. I don't know, man. I just didn't like it that much. I kind of dug the beat. I was like, yeah, I want to fucking dance or run around to this. But I was kind of, there are other hip hop I'd rather listen to.
Oh man,
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. Al, I don't want to piss you off, man, because you're one of my favourite people on earth, and you know that.
Don't you cross me, Lay.
I won't. But no,
you're allowed to dislike ICP. It's pretty universal.
I'm not hosting a podcast where Al kicks off about pop punk one week, and then next week we're all decided that all of his songs are amazing because we can't be bothered to argue with it.
I will die on the hill that this
You're
ICP
listening
song
to the
is good.
Confirmation Bias podcast with Alex Evans. This is what happens when you talk about Insane Clown Posse on a music podcast.
We have fun and laugh.
Downhill. Sharp jump.
ICP is shit.
I remember when you got the Great Malenko album, Alex, when we were teenagers, and I remember us listening to the first few tracks. So there's Great Malenko, and then that's followed by Hocus Pocus, isn't it?
Great Malenko was their first single off the album.
Yeah. Also a borderline banger. I would argue
It's that a banger if you've got borderline personality disorder.
I was quite excited to go back to this song after so many years because I literally haven't listened to it since you had that album on in your mum's living room. And I was slightly disappointed because it's not as good as I remember, but it's still pretty good.
It's still not good. I mean,
Like,
okay,
so-
maybe it's
so
not a banger, maybe more of a party popper.
Yeah, just to like get the mood up at a party early
Put it
evening.
this way, all I know is, like, at the old rock club where we used to spend time, this song was on a weekly playlist. Everyone enjoyed it. So I'm not the only one. You just have to dress like a late 2000s goth to enjoy it. So how many juggalos are here, Dad? we juggalos?
No,
For Hocus Pocus, we are juggalos.
I'm sorry, Dan. Now we can move on.
yeah.
That's not bad. 3 out of 5, I'll take it.
Let's do it. Jim, your second choice of the evening.
Yeah.
Tell us all about it before I go insane.
Before you go insane clown posse,
Oh.
Just move on.
I think Whitty might be becoming a juggalo.
It's a juggalo.
Gigolo, thank you.
Are we doing the ICP episode next week?
Yeah, that's going to be the first for the Patreon.
I'm not in the country, so yes.
Deep dive of what's their best album. It's a lot of homework, but it'll be
Plot
worth it in the
twist,
long
all
run.
of them.
Okay, sorry.
But yeah, my second pick is by a German technical death metal band named Necrophagist. It's from their 2004 album Epitaph, and the song is Stab Wound. I picked this because I feel this album particularly is the definitive technical death metal album. The drumming on this entire album is phenomenal. The guitars are incredible. It's just like sweep picking left, right, and center. If you're a guitarist and you like technical guitar playing, then this album has everything. And then the bass as well. Like, the bassist is insane. It's just constant runs and gorgeousness. So I think it should appeal to little Tommy as well.
Not the first word I would have thought of when reviewing.
and
I just think I've got my band name, Runners of Gorgeousness.
And to add to that, I think that the vocals are amongst the best death metal growl vocals out there.
Can't do it. Oh, yeah, when James picked this, I was like, yes, certified, get it on the blog spot, banger. I'm sure this will sail through.
Do you know what? I fucking love this song. I thought it was excellent. With death metal, I'm either going to love it or hate it. And the first seconds, I'm like, okay, I like the drums, And then I'm like, oh, but here comes the inevitable death growling bit. I always find it comically funny and I can't take it seriously. And I'm like,
a little cookie monster.
and then the vocals come in and I was like, okay, I quite like that. It's intimidating and it's harsh as fuck, but it doesn't make me laugh. So it's a winner for a death growl.
It's very melodic for what it's doing.
I really like this song. It's not my favourite on the list, but certainly preferred this to Wonk Unit. Couldn't find too much about the band. I can see they're German and they've got some fantastic names in the group. What we got here. So we have Christian Münzner is on lead guitar, Stefan Fimmers on the bass, Hannes Grossman on drums, and Mohamed Suikmez on vocals. So I
was expecting them to have stage names when you said they had funny names. What, they're just German names?
Yeah, no,
You've just managed to murder those names as well. If we have got any German listeners, I'm really sorry.
I was expecting to have cool names like Spleen Eater or something like that.
That's why I love the names, because they're just German names. You would expect them to have stage names, but no, they're just German guys.
I will point out it tends to be black metal when they have stage names. Doesn't really happen in death metal.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So, say that to Pete Defeat in Mortal Angel.
No, we're not. You had a chance to nominate it and you didn't.
I haven't said a thing. I mentioned a member of a band I like. I haven't said the song. Or...
Okay.
My notes say they fit a lot of sections into 3 minutes.
They do, don't they?
Yeah.
Weirdly, I'm quite happy with death metal growls and doom metal screams. The only metal vocal I don't like is the operatic sung vocal. So long as it doesn't have a sung operatic vocal.
Yeah.
So
no,
like
I can't abide that.
like Dream
King
Theatre.
Diamond's the worst about it.
So,
Yeah.
Dream Theatre upset me so much because they're so good musically, and I hate the vocals. Like Dragon Force can fuck off. But like this death metal, I'm totally in. Like, I'm totally on board. The only thing I don't like, it doesn't destroy the song on this one, but it does on a lot. I really don't like when you have a constant double bass going the whole way through a song. I really don't like that. Apart from
It is
that,
quite tiring to listen to.
everything else about this song I love. So I was finding myself like EQing the bass down so I could reduce how much of the bass drum I had, and then it was fucking brilliant. If they wanted to put it forward for a banger, I wouldn't stop it.
All right, Martin, it's down to you.
Yeah, whack it in.
Bro.
It's like, how have necrophages done it?
Of all the death metal stuff I put forward, that's nowhere near, but the first time proper tech metal one is going to blaze through.
I have to admit, with this song, I wasn't prepared. Even after the first listen, I was like, I'll go back to it and I won't like it so much. And the second time, I was like, I like it more. Third time, I'm like, yeah, fully sold on this song. I don't even want to listen to the rest of the album because I can't see them sustaining me for that an extended period of time. I just like the 3-4 minutes of this song, and it's just great. I don't need any more.
I've always felt for the band a bit because this is, in my opinion, I think this is their best song. But it also happens to be the first track of, I think it's their only album.
Second album.
They've got
No,
two
there's
up
second-
yet. Second
yeah,
album.
there's an
So
album.
what I've heard, it was
But this
by
is their
far-
only real album because the first album's got a drum machine on it, so it's borderline unlistenable.
Fair enough. But it just made me chuckle because it's just the best thing they did, and that was it. And then everything after this one track is not as good. I think the album does get a little bit tiring, like you say, because
There's
Constant double
moments-
bass is hard to listen to, I think.
There's moments later on the album, and every track has like an amazing bit, but like, yeah, this is the standout, definitely.
great song.
Yeah, undeniable banger. There we go. Martin, second song of the evening, please. What's it going to be?
Nirvana, all apologies. None of you need me to tell you about Nirvana. It's Nirvana,
Well, please do,
isn't it?
though. Indulge us. Come on, a little bit.
Come on, one of the greatest singer-songwriters of our generation.
Yeah, Dave Grohl was a singer in that before Foo Fighters, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, he was in the Nirvanas. The best Nirvana album is In Utero, obviously.
I agree.
And
Disagree,
it
but go on.
starts off extremely aggressively and like it ends on this just plaintive, beautiful note. I don't know what Kurt Cobain was going for with this song. Nobody knows. Nobody can say what he was singing about, but like just the whole like violence and like brutal aggression of In Utero, and then to end on this beautifully like melodic mellow track. It hits me hard. And also as a man who's been married twice and being in relationships and stuff, the lyrics like married, buried just hits home. Like it's kind of like a sense of like when you're in a relationship, when you feel like kind of you're tied to that relationship to the point where you can't be yourself anymore. That's what that says to me. Like it's a weird thing. I just think it's an incredible song. It also is like it's Kurt Cobain's best melody. It's the best melody he has ever come up with. That da 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 da. It's just it's beautiful in every way. Some said that like that song is his suicide note, and I don't agree with that.
Well, it was the final single, wasn't it?
It was the final single, and it's the end note, like to Nirvana's career, to Kurt Cobain's career, and it's like the last thing that anyone has ever heard.
The last track he recorded was You Know You're Right.
That was on the greatest hits from like 10 years later.
Yeah, but that doesn't count because that wasn't recorded for the album. And, it's like when you look at Nirvana, you look at 3 albums, Bleach, Nevermind, and In Utero. The last track on In Utero, other than that like weird fucking like hidden track. It is All Apologies. It's almost like Kurt Cobain going like, I'm off now. You know, thank you very much.
To the shops.
I've had a great, yeah, I'm off to the shops. I ain't ever coming back. And that's the thing. I ain't ever coming back. And that's what it says to me. It almost sounds like, it does sound like Kurt Cobain's suicide note.
It does. My theory on it is that it's a sequel to Smells Like Teen Spirit, because it takes the same concept as Smells Like Teen Spirit in that it's got all these kind of non sequitur bits in it. What should I say? Everybody's gay. It sounds like a placeholder lyric.
That's a weird lyric to throw in there as well. When you look at the whole lyric sheet, it's in there. It doesn't fit with the rest of the lyrics.
We've got the singular, married, buried, that kind of thing. Kind of recalls the rhyming pre-chorus bit in Smells Like Teen Spirit. He's actually saying nonsense, but what's he getting from it? Nothing. And what should he say about that? Nothing. Should he be all apologies for it? I think that, coupled with the production by Steve Albini, which on this album is absolutely amazing. I know Tom doesn't.
Yes, yeah.
Doesn't
Steve
there,
Albini's
but it sounds
the greatest producer of all time.
It sounds like a dying amp is making. It's like the heartbeat of a dying amp is the drums on this song, and that's the reason why I prefer this version to the live version. I do like the live version from the '94 Unplugged show, but I think the studio version is the better version. It sounds like Kurt Cobain is collapsing under his own weight with this production. And the grandeur of being this big rock star is collapsing in on itself. And what else is he left with?
Can we also just take a moment to appreciate the cello in that song?
Yeah.
Like the cello part is just
I think
so
it's wonderfully
perfect.
produced.
It's perfectly produced.
The reason why the live version doesn't work quite as well is because it's lacking that production in the drums. So the brushes that Dave Grohl uses in the live version aren't as effective as those weird snares that they use on the studio version. And to give a further example of why it doesn't work without some of the production elements, a year later, perennial song coverer in chief Sinead O'Connor did All Apologies on her 1994 album. And it's just a straight acoustic cover, and it doesn't work at all. It needs that misery and the rawness and the strainness of the instruments behind it to really give it the impact. And I think it is the definitive Nirvana song. I think it's my favourite Nirvana song.
It's my favourite Nirvana song, and I also think like it's uncoverable. I don't think you could possibly cover that song.
I think
get across what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Like you were in a relationship, and as happy as that relationship might be, you still feel like kind of like you're not yourself anymore because you're part of a relationship. Now you kind of like having to give yourself to somebody else. And what he's screaming about there is like going, you know, I am still myself. I'm still my own person.
I'm still me.
Yeah, I'm still me. And I also like, the fucking chord progression is immensely fucking great and simple. It's like that drop D, like, and then it goes into the D, and it's like, fucking hell, man. It just fucking hits hard. That whole song is just a masterclass in emotion, pure emotion. There's nothing more to it than just pure emotion. I've never heard a song like it in my entire life.
It's up.
I listen to a lot of music.
I don't think it's going to be an undeniable banger, though, because I think that, well, at least Alex is going to tear it apart. Maybe.
No, I like this song.
Oh, wow, okay.
I like Nirvana. I think the song's really good, yeah. I don't have too much experience listening to this album, to be honest. I've listened to it a few times, but Bleach and Smells Like Teen Spirit were the ones I had growing up and the ones I listened to a lot of.
Man, you should listen to In Utero a lot more.
No, I have listened to it. I do like it. I do prefer It Smells Like Teen Spirit because I think the production it probably was just as much production, but it felt a little raw to me, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I just think it's a great song, like for all reasons. I really like the main melody. I like how it progresses during. The lyrics are good. Yeah, I just like the song. It's kind of a bit boring, really. It'd be way more interesting if I'd have said it was terrible and just be another argument, but...
Well, that's a terrible opinion, Alex. You should like it more.
I've never really got Nirvana. I've never heard this song before.
Oh, wow.
I
But it's
thought
good,
this
yeah?
song was really boring. Like,
Yeah.
really, really boring.
Yeah.
Dave Grohl's drums are like rock bottom Dave Grohl as well. Like,
Yeah.
it's just bland drumming, start to finish. And he does the same drum fill that he does in It Smells Like Teen Spirit, which is like the shittest drum fill on earth. You know, the like snare, floor tom, snare, floor tom.
I kind of like that intro, but keep the rage. Don't lose the rage. Keep going.
I'll like the Emperor over there. Go on, embrace your darker thoughts.
There is me.
I thought the guitar riff I thought was boring, and I thought that I didn't think it did anything interesting for the entire song. Like, the best thing about this song is the production.
Yeah, I
for,
think.
for half the guys here, that's usually enough.
Yeah.
No, I'm with James. So I bought In Utero when it came out, and I really enjoyed it. And I like the album better than I like Nevermind, but I always skip this track.
Ooh, wow.
Whoa, hot take.
I find this track a bit dull. Dave Grohl's drumming is probably the worst drum beat he's ever put on record.
I think that's intentional. I think it's.
I was expecting this song to be like, well, it's all right, a bit average, but I'm really enjoying the decimation.
The guitar part is the closest Kurt Cobain ever got to ripping off Pumpkins. The guitar part for this could have been on Gish, but it would have been a Gish B-side.
Oh, savage!
Get B-side. My God. My fucking God.
Everything you think, Martin, is wrong.
My God.
I thought this was going to be our milk toast episode, but no.
No,
I am triggered so much.
I'm waiting for Martin to do that stuff. You know, when someone's so angry, they start like silently shaking. I'm expecting that.
Or they do what you do and storm off.
I did storm off.
I mean, to be honest, though, this song is so boring, it could easily be a Pearl Jam song.
Oh, fuck off. My fucking God. Right, I'm leaving
So, Tom,
now.
what's better? This song got ICP, Hocus Pocus.
Oh, no, I'm not going into that.
You got to be honest.
No, I can't answer that. I can't say my opinion. I'm not.
They don't have any credibility at the end of the podcast.
No, I mean, this is a very good song, and there are, like, in some ways, but it's just, I hate Steve Albini's production. I think it's the worst thing about In Utero. I think In Utero has some of the strongest songs Nirvana ever wrote on it. But then the thing is, I think one of my favourite Nirvana songs is Scentless Apprentice. I like Nirvana when they're heavy and raw, and like Scentless Apprentice really is really that. When I listen to the album as a whole, and I do like to listen to the album as a whole, I think by the time I get to All Apologies, I don't want a long, drawn-out, slow song. It doesn't fit right for me in the context of the album at the time. For going for a slow Nirvana song on that album, I like Heart Shaped Box better than I like All Apologies.
That's like Sophie's Choice, isn't it? Which is your favourite?
It's Sophie's Choice. Rosemary's Baby.
It's like choosing between ICP and Nirvana. To actively avoid the song on the album, the specific song Martin loves.
I know.
What are you
The best thing is as well is if you skip this song, it's followed by 20 minutes of silence before the hidden track. So presumably you don't skip the 20 minutes of silence. You skip this to get to that.
I to be honest, I normally just stop the album after Tourette's. To be honest, but don't get me wrong, I can see why people like it, and it's like the thing is, Martin and I, the difference in our music taste. Martin quite likes a drone, and he will quite happily sit and listen to something that drones for quite a long time. And he's always been able to do that. I need move, and I know this sounds really weird for somebody who listens to post-rock all the time, because you guys will listen to it and go, oh, that sounds like a 20-minute long drone, except it isn't, because it's got momentum. That's the difference. Martin doesn't feel the need for momentum in what he's listening to, and that's totally valid. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to like this song. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it doesn't have enough momentum for me to enjoy it.
My second choice for the evening is a song that I wish was more famous. It is very famous, but it's not famous in the mainstream circles that it should be, because I think it's in the top 5 songs of all time for myself. And
You
is
did not pick where the slime live.
yeah.
You trickster, you.
Yeah, they're here tonight.
They should have more mainstream success, I admit. Yeah, you're...
The song I've picked is Maggot Brain by the band Funkadelic, which is
hell yes.
part of the P-Funk collective made up of the bands which were essentially the same people, Funkadelic and Parliament, all formed by George Clinton in the late 60s and early 70s. This is from 1971, and it's 10 minutes. To give you the lowdown on how the song was formed, it is essentially a guitar solo in two halves, played in one take by Eddie Hazel while he was on LSD. George Clinton himself explained that I told him to play like his mother had died, to picture that day, what he would feel, how he would make sense of his life, how he would take a measure of everything that was inside him. And basically Eddie Hazel, being on LSD, then had that as his mission statement and made one of the most powerful recordings that I think I've ever heard. So bare bones. There are some drums played. There's a massive kind of snare that's got a lot of delay effects on it, a lot of echo, a lot of reverb from Tiki Forward. And there's a very small bass part low down from Billy Bass Nelson. And he plays a syncopated bit towards the end, but there really isn't much instrumentally going on. It's just the main chord played by the second guitar by Tall Ross, and then Eddie Hazel just wails for 10 minutes while George Clinton does do some poetry at the start. And to describe it as the sum of its parts, it's just ethereal in the way that it transcends. I think it transcends what Hendrix was doing at the time, well, just before. I think it's just this wonderful crossover record that should be entrenched in funk and is a hard rock, almost classic for me. I just think it has so many facets of what makes this song incredible. The story of how it was made, the people themselves, the quality of the musicianship, and the kind of enigma that is Eddie Hazel, who would die in the 90s, way before his time, and spent most of his career with Parliament Funkadelic being sacked because he couldn't get off of various drug problems that he had.
Is that how he died?
Yeah, from drug problems. He was only about I think he was in his late 30s, early 40s. And he's one of the greatest guitarists that has ever lived for me, and does not get the props that he deserves. And this is his one moment that he had where he showed the world that the guitar is a powerful instrument. And yeah, I think if you've never heard this song, just put yourself in a dark room and just listen to it. Go with it. Because you've got to be in the mood for it. It's not something you can put casually on, as the playlist may show, when it suddenly jars from Run DMC into Funkadelic's
I feel
Maggot Brain.
so fucking bad. After that introduction of why it's so good, I'm just like, it sounds like Nothing Else Matters by Metallica crossed with Pink Floyd at the end, and I think that's great.
It's before both of those.
I know
before both of
them.
those.
I know it's before, but it is the Metallica. It is Nothing Else Matters melody. I literally, when I was listening to it, because I was just doing other stuff, a part of me started singing, no matter how close, no matter how far. I started doing it before expecting it to come in, because I forgot I was listening to playlist of people's music. But yeah, it's a really, really good song. I definitely put it in a banger. I really enjoyed it. Just because I like Pink Floyd and Metallica, and the guy did it 10 years before they existed.
Prog elements to it.
I thought it was great.
Go on, Tom.
I don't want to.
Do me the end. Do me the end.
I don't want to be that guy again. I think for the first 3.5 minutes, I enjoyed it, and after that, it's just pretentious wank.
I saw in his face his asshole clench. Sorry. He literally went.
It's my problem is I have always hated guitar solos, and this track is just one guitar solo.
Well, yeah,
and
that's good. Not going to help.
So I can understand why you like it, and the guitar playing to start with is beautiful, but then it's you can tell it's made by people who've taken a lot of drugs, because it's very, and I have a problem with that because it's very self-indulgent, and it's very Eddie Hazel is telling a story. It's listening to this guy play guitar is like listening to Martin try and tell a story. It starts off really coherent for the first 3 minutes, and then it just degenerates into a mess.
But
It's
it
hocus
ends.
That's
pocus
pretty
better.
accurate, man.
But,
Hocus pocus
but
better.
no matter what the story is, it always ends with that particular song being the best song that's ever been recorded.
Oh, if Martin's saying it, yeah. But
Yeah,
it
so
isn't.
We really should. That should be a podcast. We should do this podcast for another year. And we'll write down every song Martin claims is the best song ever written. And we can have a podcast on it to itself. Then we can grade those songs and think. Then we could pick the actual best song in the universe.
We could even somehow stage it so that Martin is all 5 people on the podcast all at once as well. It's just Martin talking to himself about how good the Beastie Boys and Duran Duran and NXS are over and over again. It's like that episode of Black Mirror where he wakes up and it's Christmas every day. It's just like...
And every conversation is like exactly the same, where it's just like shame. Man, what can I say about shame?
I've been listening to Failure while I've been cycling around.
Yeah. No, so I don't mean to denigrate it too badly. Like I really like the first 3 minutes I was well on board, but it just loses to me because it is just a guitar solo. And it's a very, very good guitar solo. Like, don't get me wrong, but it is only a guitar solo, and that isn't enough for what I want to listen to. And the thing is, to be fair, I actually did stay and listen to the whole of the album. I did sit and listen to the whole, and it's a really good album. And it's like, and I was listening to this track and then the other tracks, and I was like, oh, Dan, why didn't you pick one of the other songs? I would have said something really nice about it, and now I have to say something mean.
My second favourite on that album is the closing track, Wars of Armageddon. I love that. And Super Stupid, Hit It, Quit It. Yeah, there's great songs on that album.
Yeah.
Maggot Brain itself is a great album.
Super Stupid is amazing.
Yeah. I couldn't let this opportunity go by without bringing up.
Oh, no, absolutely fine.
And Maggot Brain, because I think it's that important to a lot of what would transpire in the 70s and the 80s from a kind of blues crossover R&B music. And not enough people know who George Clinton is, let alone who Parliament Funkadelic are. I was lucky enough to see George Clinton in the summer, and in his 80s, he's still an absolute triumph of a human being.
Yeah. Like I say, the rest of that album is fantastic, and like I was in it from the start, and I do see what you mean about saying it's really important to a lot of other things that came later, because it is. So Pink Floyd were already going and doing stuff that was similar to this. So they formed in '65.
Yeah, Echoes I think was around out the same year.
This does very much start the guitar sound that they then start to go down with their later 70s stuff. So yeah, it is quite influential. And I think, yes, his guitar playing is taking what Hendrix was doing and taking it to another level. But Hendrix wrote those guitar parts in songs. And I think that's...
Eddie Hazel could do that as well. But,
he does. He does on the rest of the...
Yeah. Eddie Hazel was also, just before we move on to the next song, he only released, I think, one album in his lifetime. It's called Game, Dames and Guitar Things, and it features an amazing cover of California Dreaming by the Mamas and the Papas, and it is amazing. It's just a guitar workout. It's got a blues rock feel to it. Anyway, totally worth recommending.
What do the other two guys think?
It's not just a guitar solo. I absolutely love this. It's like, it's a window into a man's soul. That's what it is. That's how much I love this song. It's not just a guy sitting in a room, buzzed off his tits, playing the guitar. Like, it's...
Well, it kind of was.
Yeah.
I mean, it is that, but it's more than that.
It is literally that, but go on.
The recording is more than that.
Yeah, I love it. I love this song. It's fantastic. Tom's ruined everything for everyone.
I know.
He does that. Final song of the evening. So, Tom, what have you got in store for us as our parting gift for 2022?
Wizard won't be bitter about this. Continue.
I know I've just stomped on
Let's
his...
let him have it, lads.
Yeah, I know. I'm really sad that I'm going after that, because as soon as he said how much it meant to him, I was like, I'm going to sound like such an asshole now, and I'm prepared to get my heart stomped on, because I think I feel about this song probably as strongly as Dan feels about that one. And I know how he feels right now, and that's why I feel really sorry and guilty, and like, please don't shit on me too much.
He's smirking because he knows that's what's coming.
Yeah, I know that's. I know
I
that's.
can't wait. The electricity's in the air.
I know it's coming, and I'm prepared for it. This track's by probably my favorite band ever. Trying to pick a track by this band's really hard though, because they are quite an album band. If you listen to one of their albums, they cover a lot of bases. So if you take one track out, it doesn't always work that well.
Well, I find they did that pretty well, Grey Malenko, but the Mason Jekyll brothers, I get what your point is.
Yeah, exactly.
No, just no.
I discovered this band when I was at university, and it was shortly before they broke up, and I got this out, the album that this track's taken from, because I think I discovered it because I was doing a deep dive into Chemical Underground Records, because Mogwai Young Team came out on that label. And so this band formed in Glasgow in the late 1990s, formed from a few other sort of college bands in and around Glasgow. They set up their own record label to release their debut single, which that record label also released Biffy Clyro's second single and possibly their first single as well, actually. And then they released this album, and it's recorded on like a very low budget in like a local studio. The drummer on this album virtually never plays a drum beat. He's always playing like a melody pattern and a riff. The singer's voice takes some getting into. I appreciate lots of people don't like it, but at the end of this song, I should say the name of the song. The song's called Post-Tour Prejudgment. It's track 2 off Areogram's debut album, A Story in White. At the end of it, when he screams, it's the most uncontrolled. I mean, he lost his voice for a year in the late 2000s, and you can hear why when you hear how he screams. It's not a scream in the way that your sort of screamo bands at the time were doing it. It's not that sort of controlled scream that you're taught how to do. It's visceral. It's this uncontrolled scream of anguish. Although it really is. But it was,
just
it
like
is.
Gary Neville's Goalgasm.
Yeah, it is. but it's. I was really disappointed though, because for years I thought he was singing. "We Could Be Clouds," which I thought was a beautiful lyric, but it's not. It's "We Can't Be Found," which I was very disappointed. But anyway, the way this band wrote the songs is the singer would come in with all of the tracks written on acoustic guitar, which is why the guitar part's mostly like open chords, just with a bit of distortion on it. And the band would take these folk songs that he'd written and then deconstruct them. And Ian Cook would add keys and another guitar part, and he's now the keyboard player in Churches. This song starts off with a sort of plaintive vocal over the top of essentially Smashing Pumpkins chords, riff, and then it kicks off into this big chorus, and then it's got this sort of A-B, and then structure, and then it just sort of goes off on a tangent. It sort of goes to this breakdown, and then it just punches you in the face, and I absolutely love it.
Agreed. Like, I love Aerogram. I love this song. Banger. Get it in.
This was probably my favourite song other than my 2 picks, because my 2 picks were amazing. I think the song's absolutely brilliant. It reminds me of I imagine they came after, but I think I like this song because it reminded me a lot of the song Angels by Jimmy Eat World.
I thought you were going to say by Robbie Williams.
Yeah. Sorry, you mean Lizzo?
I think it's called Angels, but I'm pretty certain that's what the song is on Jimmy Eat World. It reminded me of that, but with the extra heaviness and, screaming and stuff.
That is the best review I've ever heard anyone give anything. You sound a bit like Jimmy World, but with Man.
See, when you say it, Dan, it sounds like a really positive review, doesn't it?
Yeah. Martin, what are your thoughts on Areogram's post-tour prejudgment?
Tom already knows my thoughts on Areogram.
Yeah, but
I
everybody else
fucking love them
doesn't.
to bits.
Yeah.
I just love that whole dynamic they have of the minimal guitar parts and then exploding into violence. I like that about bands, when it's like you have a really melodic part and then it just explodes into this extreme violence of guitar noise and just over the top distortion and stuff. I really like that a lot. I really like that a lot. Tom will tell you, like being in a band with me, he will testify that I like to just kick on the distortions, fucking mental. It slaps for me because I know this song very well. I like it a lot.
So it sounds like everybody likes this. I haven't given my thoughts yet. So, Tom, shall I
Before Winston gets absolutely savages it, can I just say, just alter my opinion. The song by Jimmy World is called Hear You Me on Bleed American, and this is what it sounds like. But go on.
Okay.
Go on.
I'll read my notes because I know Tom's dying to hear whether or not this is going to pass as an undeniable banger. I suddenly find myself in a position of power.
I'm feeling like I should have been nicer.
Kick his ass, Seabass.
So I put not as good as Barriers or Trenches from My Heart Has a Wish That You Would Not Go in 2007.
That's when I discovered them.
But I love the quiet, loud dynamic of this. I love the distorted guitar. It's almost like he's having a breakdown. Craig B is the vocalist.
Craig B.
He sounds like he's having a breakdown at the end. I really love the bouncing snare that Martin Scott on drums has got. It's really effective. It shows like there's an emotion bubbling under the bits that are more of a standard track, and then it
bubbling
all just
under the
breaks down.
bits.
So Area Grammar in the Undeniable Banger Club, Tom. This is a great song. The one thing I did say on it, and it's not really a slight on the song at all, but I think it may be the same melody as Neil Young's Only Love Can Break Your Heart. They sound very similar in terms of the way the verses...
There is a similarity,
Yeah.
Forgery, if you ask me.
But I love that. I just wanted to get a slight knock into say not 100% original. But I love that song anyway. So, this is a great song.
We've got to be nice about this band, haven't we? Because, like, if you listen to this song, it's pretty much copy-paste every song as ever enjoyed he recommends to us.
Yes. And Tom has waited I think it's about 25 episodes to drop Areogram on us. So
I've never mentioned it before.
So I think it's about time that they got some recognition. I think, this is a great song. It's not my favourite song of theirs that you've recommended to me. Trenches is a particular one that I really like from their final album.
Yeah. So Trenches is absolutely heartbreaking. Like it's one of, and I think weirdly, so My Heart's a Wish You Would Not Go came after Craig B lost his voice completely. So he lost his voice, completely lost it after their. So some people call it an album, some people call it an EP. So it's either their third album or their third EP. And he lost his voice completely. And then he comes back and they made My Heart Has a Wish That You Would Not Go. The band hadn't made it at all. Like they were losing money hand over fist. They weren't getting anywhere. They split up halfway through a US tour because they were playing to empty venues. They decided they'd try and make one cohesive album because their other albums are, by their own admission, a difficult listen. I think it's Craig B actually describes Sleep and Release, which was voted like the 10th best Scottish album of all time. He's like, I love that you guys
not much for competition.
No.
Scottish music.
Yeah.
What?
Best of the Crankies did all right, I think.
What's the top 10 in New Guinea right now? Who cares?
Yeah. There are some very
probably
good
Bad
Scottish
Bunny,
albums.
to be fair.
Yeah.
Probably, actually.
But they decided they make one album that sounded like an album, and then it's got Barriers and Trenches on it. And Trenches is, for anyone who doesn't know it, is based on a letter that a soldier sends home from World War One, and he's singing that, and he puts this heartbreaking melody to it, and then essentially the ending of it is just a D major chord played fucking massive with modulating root note with the modulating bass line, and it just sounds huge. The Trenches is beautiful as well, and I was debating putting that up, but I was like, I thought that I'd rather put through something with a bit, because My Heart's Wish You Would Not Go does not actually represent the rest of that band's discography at all. It's beautiful and it's a great album, and I think everyone should listen to it. But I think that their other albums need a bit of love as well, because they're so clever. Like some of the things they do, the way Martin Scott plays drums, I don't think there's another drummer that plays drums like that. You listen to his drum parts the whole way through Sleep and Release, and you're like, there is no drum beat. It's like he plays drums like you'd play a guitar. Like it's like the drum pattern that he plays in the track Older, which is one of their heavier tracks. It's just weird, but it's beautiful. Yeah. Anyway, I won't gush too much. I'll bore you all to death.
That was Songs on Trial, our final episode recorded in 2022. Will actually be 2023 when you listen to it. But we'll be back. We'll be back very soon with Album of the Year for 2022. So we'll give our thoughts then on what's won, what are the best records of this year. And then after that, it'll be time for us to discuss the Beatles, I believe.
I'm going to have to start listening to albums, aren't I?
Yes, you are. Yes.
Well, I'm going to go through the last bands I did for last year and see if they've got a new album this year, and then just start from there.
Good luck, because the Chats have got a new album.
Yeah,
I haven't got around to listen to that one yet.
It's good as well. It's good.
It's good. It's just not as good as the last album.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No FX have got another album out as well, so you can always nominate that if you can't think of anything else.
Well,
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
The opener on the new Chats album is a banger, like the 6-litre GTR.
Yeah. I like The Price of Smokes has gone up again. That's my favourite track on that album.
I mean, I already want to nominate it. I haven't heard it.
Yeah. But in the meantime, check out the blog, check out the YouTube channel for more video content, and join us on Patreon now. Give us some money. Give us some money. Yeah.
I just made a video from that. I've done my first content for the group, so that's good.
Yeah. If you stick around after the show, you might find out what that is. And on that note, goodbye. Stay funky. Keep listening.
Bye, everyone. Bye, 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 bye,
Bye.
bye.